Welcome everyone to this week's video. Today we are on Fish Friday number 153 and we have a good one for you today. Today's fish is one of those beautiful fish that you would see in those coral reefs. Absolutely gorgeous to look at, but has some really bizarre things about it. One in particular that might just really surprise you. Today's fish that we're going to be talking about is... Bam! The Slingjaw wrasse. Now, the Slingjaw wrasse, or scientific name Epibolus insidiator, that's probably correct. Again, that's Epibolus insidiator. It is part of the family Labridae, which is the family of wrasses. Now, this fish is found in a very wide area in both the Indian and Pacific Oceans. It's found on the east coast of Africa, all the way down to Madagascar, all the way to Hawaii. And then it's found found as far north as Japan and as far south as like the northern coast of Australia. So that's an extremely wide area. So this is not one of those rare fish that are, you know, only a few left in the wild. This fish is very prolific and found in an incredibly wide area. Now, it is a benthopelagic fish, which means that it is on the bottom. So you're going to find these very, very close to the bottom. And there's some reasons for that. Number one is they're found in coral-rich areas of lagoons and reefs. So these fish are very much associated with these coral reefs. That's why they're found on the bottom. Obviously, coral is on the bottom, and these being so closely associated with coral reefs, you'd expect to find them. You're not going to find these way up in the water column. They're fairly low, and that's how most wrasses actually operate. Now, to me, this is a very large wrasse, but it's realistically a medium-sized fish. It's not necessarily enormous, but when I think of wrasses, I usually think of much smaller. It's probably not even true that this would be a large wrasse. It's just in my mind, I picture wrasses significantly smaller. But I haven't actually seen any wrasses outside of the aquarium trade. Again, because I am a freshwater person. But back to the size, these fish can get up to about 54 centimeters, which is about 21 inches. So, you know, relatively good size. And the males are extremely colorful. The males have the base color is going to be this grayish, steel gray, maybe brownish. But then they have this very bright orange on the back extending onto the fin. They have a yellow bar usually here. You can kind of see there. This one's extremely colorful. It's a little more orange, but I believe right in here you'll usually have a little more yellow. They've got this thin black stripe that runs through the eye with this pale white head, and it's a large head, don't get me wrong, but then you got these colorful fins. The scales are going to be edged in these darker pigments, which, as we've talked before, I like to call it a herringbone pattern. So very, very colorful fish, extremely colorful. Females are either going to be this bright yellow, still beautiful, but this bright yellow, or kind of a darker brown. And if you see a juvenile, you're going to see them, they look a little more like this, and they're starting to get extra colors. So, you know, still beautiful, but the males are going to be just absolutely stunning. It is important to note that they do have spines in their fins. They have about 10 spines in the dorsal fin and 3 in the anal fin. So if you are handling this fish, do be careful, because from my understanding, those spines are actually fairly prevalent and can give you quite a good poke. As you would expect with a fish of this coloration, It's very popular in the aquarium trade. Very popular. You can buy these for about $35. But what a lot of people may not realize is it's kind of assumed that the Slingjaw wrasse is most likely a protogynous hermaphrodite, meaning that they're all born female and then at some point some of them transition to male. That's not necessarily that uncommon. We've talked about similar things like this in the past, like the clownfish, where the males become females. Well, this is kind of the opposite. They're female and then they go to male. And what's kind of bizarre about this fish as well is the males actually have relatively odd courtship behaviors. When they are courting, courting males will swim with their caudal fin collapsed. So they'll like fold their caudal fin and then they hold it upwards at an angle. And then they'll take their anal fin and they'll fold it and stretch it downwards. So they're almost like taking their tail, pointing it up. I can't maneuver my hands like that. So yeah, like this. That's probably not correct, but yeah. So anyway, they collapse both those fins and then one of them holds it upward at an angle and the other one stretches downwards. And then the males will actually hold a territory of an area somewhere between 500 to 1,000 square meters, which is about 5,500 to 10,500 square feet. That's its area, and it defends it aggressively. And there may be multiple females in that area, and that may be the fish may have 10 females, may only have 2, but usually there are multiple females in the area. And the female actually seems to instigate quite a bit of the courtship behavior. There's not really too much seen about the courtship. They have been observed kind of swimming upwards really quick to kind of begin the courtship process. The true reproduction process, but that's a little up in the air. But for the interesting fact that we're going to end the video on, the name Slingjaw wrasse, you might be thinking, why does this wrasse have that name? Well, it's because the Slingjaw wrasse possesses a very unique jaw protrusion, very unique among fish. The species, all of the species can extend its jaws up to 65% the length of its head. And it has a large head. It can extend its jaws way out there. And it does it very fast. And this allows this fish to get smaller fish and crustaceans, especially crustaceans up in the cracks of corals and things like this. They can get things that other fish cannot, simply because of how they do that. Now, the reason why is because they actually possess a unique ligament in their jaw. Let me look at my notes. It is called the Vomero enteropercular. I would not know that name of that ligament. I am definitely not that smart. But so they have this Vomero enteropercular ligament, and they have two enlarged ligaments called the enteroperculomandibular mandibular and the maxilla ligaments. So they have those ligaments as well that are actually enlarged. And then they actually have a few changes to the form of their jaw bones that allows it to have this. And you can see here, this is a drawing of kind of how their jaw works and how they can protrude it. So you can see right here, this is normal and this is extended. Well, I didn't think that was good enough. I did not think that was good enough. So we have a little video for you as well. This is from the Australian Museum. So this is a Slingjaw wrasse feeding. Let me kind of zoom in here. I want you to watch this. Zoop. Did you see that? So this jaw, you know, it's extending right here. The bottom jaw bones are right in line. It's about midpoint between the eye and the nose. So that would be, let's say you have your forearm, and all of a sudden your elbow is about where your wrist is and you're trying to hit someone. You can see when you have this sort of advantage, you can get that mouth way up into cracks for those little tiny crabs and everything that are trying to hide. So it's a truly bizarre, and it's just bizarre. Especially sometimes it looks like I was in terms of doing research for this video, I looked around at some videos of these fish, and you know how, you know, we stretch and we're like, oh man, you know, just giving a good stretch. I swear these things just sometimes like stretch their jaw, because there's videos of them just around the reef, not even feeding, they're just like, and I don't know if there's, I don't know, it's just a bizarre behavior, but it's insanely cool and such a unique adaptation to allow them to live in these coral reefs and get at food sources that many other fish would not be able to. So, but anyways, thank you guys so much again. I really appreciate it. Hope to see you again. If I don't, please be safe. Have a great day. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If you do, I'd really appreciate it. Hope to see you again. If you'd like to support the channel, please click the link down below. It is by no means expected, but very much appreciated. Once again, take care of yourselves, take care of your loved ones, and peace.